Hello,
Oh, hey there, C. How you doing?
this is Tryst. He is a VTuber who streams on Twitch, and I interviewed him to see if he had thoughts of switching streaming from Twitch to YouTube, what his intentions were creating the group called the Hub World, what might have happened in his life which changed his perspective on VTubing as a whole, and a whole lot more. If you'd like to see more of this type of content, please consider subscribing, as it helps me out a lot. When did you first start streaming?
I first started streaming in like November of 2022. I had done some RL streams like 2 or 3 years before that, but like I never really got into it. So I will say like I first really seriously started streaming a year ago.
What was your first experience with Twitch?
Twitch I thought was really nice. I was very stressed. I think most new streamers are, because you're just so scared of like, what are people gonna think of me? Am I doing this right? All of that stuff. But a lot of people showed up to support, and like any person who just shows up and says nice things helps a lot. And then eventually, I hope that everyone, like, I found that point where I'm comfortable not worrying about an audience number. But I know for my first time, I was very scared and I was like staring at the number constantly. And every time a person left, I was like, oh no, what did I do wrong? But I got over that over time. I think most people do.
Have you had the thought about switching from streaming on Twitch to streaming on YouTube at any point?
I like the idea of at least uploading stuff to YouTube. To be honest, I think I'd be a better fit for videos rather than actual live streams. It's just, I'll admit, I'm not a video maker by any means. As for streaming on YouTube, I might dual stream both. I feel like now that I've used Twitch a fair bit, I'm pretty comfortable there. But like maybe multi-streaming since Twitch is now in support of that. But that's in the distant future. That's like if I find that I'm really like hammering home with streaming.
What kind of things did you plan to do before you decided to get into streaming?
The thing that's still like my big life goal is I want to be a professional like author. I want to write books. I want to have like a full series at some point. Aside from that, I was trying to get into voice acting for a little bit. So I got to like meet or talk to a couple voice actors at conventions or through email, and it seemed really cool. And I think now it's a better time than ever to try to get into it. That's my own personal guess based on the fact that people started using professional equipment in home setups, because I know for a long time it was like you either moved to New York or you moved to Texas to become one, and I didn't want to do either of those. But I don't know, maybe eventually I'll get into it to some degree, but I don't know about the voice acting thing anymore. At the very least, writing is something I want to do.
It's it it's very interesting that you also mentioned about voice acting because I as well did a few voice acting things back in the I think 2021, 2022.
That's awesome. That's really cool. I think it's a lot of fun. And like when I was in high school, so I guess around like 10 years ago, 9 years ago, I was on the machinima, the voice acting pro boards, and trying to getting into certain machinimas and stuff. And those of course have been long removed off of YouTube. But I was doing a little bit back then, but that was me as like a little kid, I was a little teenager with a really high-pitched voice. And so it was like easy for me to get cast as like Ness from Super Smash Brothers, because they're all like, you sound like an 8-year-old anyways. Why don't you just be a little boy? It was really funny. And now I do like the pro tag voice with my friends all the time or on my streams where my audience can redeem it. And then I'll do the whole like, hi, it's nice to meet you. And I'll talk like that. And they're like, oh my God, it's very pro taggy. And it's like, that was the goal for me, was to be like an anime protagonist at some point. But I think it's awesome that you were doing it too. It's such a fun thing to practice with.
Especially if you started doing it really, really way back.
I don't know. When you start so much earlier, you can take these kind of notes on yourself too. And like, what did I do well back then? What would I like to recapture? And then what have I improved on? Or maybe what are some habits I had that I should fix? That's the kind of stuff I really respect, because it is hard, It's hard to look back for some people and to see their mistakes, and they just kind of don't look back. And it's like, that's, never a good way to really grow. Not that you should ever get obsessed with the mistakes, but like, as you were saying, you start noticing, how could I have done better? What could I have improved on? Going back with that productive mindset, goes a long way.
Exactly. When or how did you first come up with the idea of having a special group for VTubers to interact and meet each other?
So when I first started VTubing, I realized on Twitter, I was doing a lot of those prompt posts, and that was kind of how I got my initial like growth spurt. Not to act like I'm big on Twitter at all or anything, but like I was doing a lot of those prompts and people would jump in. Some of them would message me like, oh, you labeled me this because I did this prompt of like, you would be the god of what, you know, god or goddess of what, and people drop their PNG and I just assigned something based on how they looked. And I realized like, I don't really know about any of these people. I want to get to know people better. And so me and Okami Ignacio, he's the other, like one of the two mods in the server, he and I were messaging and talking about maybe it'd be cool if we built like a bit of a small server to get some people together. And I was like, what if we just have a community server without that dedication? Like, I just want to actually meet people. I don't want there to be a main character in Hub World. So like we built Hub World with the idea in mind of this is just a community. This is Animal Crossing. You come in, everyone's got their own lives, and you all kind of live amongst each other. I'm not trying to bash anyone who does their own servers because I think that's awesome that they do, and that's great for giving announcements and for getting people to like talk to each other. But the thing I'm most invested in with VTubing as a whole is just getting to meet other people, getting to talk to other VTubers, make friends with other people. It's like, I just want to get to know people. We're all doing such a unique niche hobby, and everyone's like, I don't know, they're interesting to me. It's just, I want that feeling of belonging. It's cool. It's an experience. It's a life-shaping experience to VTube and do this so much. So have people who you can really enjoy it with. That's also why a lot of people in Hub World aren't even streamers. We have a lot of people who are just supporters who like to talk, hang out, interact. We don't always stream the games we play. Sometimes we just play games casually with each other and have fun. It feels good. It's just a good feeling for me. So yeah, I guess it all started just with Okami and I talking about it, and then I got really obsessed with it. That's also why we do a lot of rules in the server too. It's to encourage people, like, get involved here. This is a server where you should, like, we want everyone to just be able to talk and have a good time. It is just a place to hang out. And like, I don't know. I think there's something special about that.
Who was the first person you decided to invite to the Hub World?
So technically speaking, Okami was the first person because we built it together. After Okami, like, we added very quickly where I think Okami added Zen Tenshi, and then from there I added Grim. She's not a streamer, but she might stream at some point. She always likes to join collabs, and she'll do this as like, oh, this is my debut in someone else's like stream. But of course, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna end up wanting to shout out every Hub Worlder at this rate, because it's like, oh, you've got, like, you doing this interview is really cool. The speed run was amazing. I think that's awesome that you did it. It got accepted. That's super cool. We have artists like Ethan doing art of Hub World so often without even like, of course I try to make it a point to tip Ethan just for him doing that, but he does art of Hub World as a whole. It just makes it feel so special. Everyone in Hub World is fantastic, but the first person I think technically invited, sorry, I know I just tangented there, but I guess it would be Okami, who I founded it with. And then yeah, those other ones like Berrigan, Zen, and Chele and Idara were all there very early on. Grim and Syra and Spots joined early on, though none of them stream. So yeah, that's probably the best answer.
Who do you think was the most friendliest or most important person to join the Hub World?
That's tough. Friendliest, I think everyone's been really, really friendly. I guess if I was gonna say someone who's super duper supportive, she's not even a streamer, but like Spotsvania, she shows up for everyone a lot of the time. I've seen her in a number of all of the Hub Worlder streams. She'll join collabs, she'll get involved. She's made streaming assets for people just in our free assets section. She'll just design them herself. I don't think there's anyone who's shown quite the same incredible amount of support to like just a bunch of people. And again, she's not a streamer herself, but like she's just a supportive person. I think that's very, very friendly, the friendliest person. And then in terms of influential to Hub World itself, maybe Ethan. I think Ethan's art is just something that brings people together a lot. I know there's a lot of ways that people have influenced Hub World. We have the music thing going with Koala right now, where he's remixing or he's working on the vocals that a bunch of Hub Worlders submitted for a song, and that'll be, I think, fully released soon enough. It sounded really good when I heard it, like what he had showed of it. But I guess that one's really tough. That one's a tough one of most influential because again, everyone's important, I think. anyone who gets involved.
So, when did you get your first ever model?
So in December of 2021, I reached out to an artist friend of mine. She at the time was working at a game company. She's worked on a couple games, but she also does just a lot of like commission work. That design process started in December of 2021. By around, I want to say it was July of 2022, it wasn't even done yet. But I saw a chance to get in with Chibi Studio commissions. They were very cheap for the models they make. They do them very cheap and they advertise it as very quick. And so I was like, my model's not done yet, but I've had enough commissions that I generally know what I want to look like. I'll give them something simple and I'll use it as a kind of dipping my toe into streaming. It's cheaper. If I like streaming a lot, then I'll just invest in a better model later. And then meanwhile, if I don't like it, then I didn't spend a ton of money. So they worked on it around like June, July, and they were done with it by around, I think it was the end of October, early November of 2022. So I started with that one, and that was just how I got into it as a whole. And then to really start to figure out what I thought were my core attributes that needed to stay the same no matter what, I commissioned Yoki Shiraishi off of Fiverr, and then I went to Karamomo Kitchen with that reference to have that worked on. And then Rev Senior, they were the person from Karamomo Kitchen who worked on my actual model itself. And then the rigging was done by Aino, and that's where I got my final. But I will say that yes, my first model was technically done at the end of November.
Did you use any previous or other models before you got your current one, or were you just doing no cam during that time?
So I didn't start streaming until I had my original Chibi Studio model, which I think was a mistake. So I didn't start streaming until like, I think it was November 2022. So we've just passed like a year of that. But yeah, I started with my model. I did technically real life stream a couple years before that, but that was a completely different me who you would not find on Twitch anymore. I also was not at all a committed streamer, and being on real life cam, I felt self-conscious.
Oh my god, you know what I just realized I forgot?
What's up?
We forgot to do the introductions.
No worries, we can do it right now and you could just splice it straight to the front, or you could leave it here at this point and people can laugh at it.
I already know that editing me is gonna fucking hate me so much. I already know it.
It'll be so good.
Future me is gonna hate me so much. Do I need to say anything else? Oh god. But yeah, if you'd like to do now, you can go ahead and do your introduction if you'd like.
Oh, sure thing. So hello everyone. I am Tryst. I'm a cockatrice VTuber. As far as I can tell, I think I'm the only one now. I don't remember seeing like the last person who was one. They rebranded. So pretty special in this saturated market. I like to stream a variety of games. I usually do like roguelikes, Pokemon ROMs and stuff like that. Or I mean completely legitimate Pokemon games. And then I like to do community-based content a lot with my Discord community hub world that is centered around community, not a singular person. It feels really great to be on here. C is a hub worlder as well and a really nice guy. So hope you guys enjoy this.
Did you ever receive hate for having a VTuber model?
Actually, no. I've been really lucky there. I see how much hate some people get, and like I feel bad because everyone I've shown my stuff to either just does not get involved with me. They don't think about it. It's not a negative. They just don't think about it. Or they've been really, really kind. Even my own family I've shown it to, they thought it was cool. I've never had a random commenter just rip me apart for my model.
Did things in your life happen that might have almost affected your entire life and the way you see VTubing or content creation as a whole?
Yeah, I fell into a coma, and that kind of when I woke up from it and started to come back to reality, I realized I really want to do this. I think it's something that I care a lot about. And then something else that got me really invested in it was I put together this giant experiment going through all of HoloLive, every member, across all of the regions, including all of the hollow stars. And it was just me talking to people who don't really watch VTubers but they like anime, or maybe they know a couple VTubers, and they all gave ratings and rankings based on just the design concept alone. And it led to this really interesting discourse on like what makes for a unique design, what are the designs that people tend to like the most. I had them leave notes on what they enjoyed. For me, it was about what do we find as similarities between higher rated designs. And that was something I got really interested into VTubing with, because it was like, if I were to VTube, I'm more interested in just seeing how designs work out, what people go for, and what I want to do. But I'd say the biggest thing was the coma. That was like the thing that like kind of spurred on everything. It turned a dream into something that I was just like, I'm going to double down. I'm going to try this out. And now I do it for fun. I like it as a hobby. Maybe one day I could grow to the point where it could be a career, but like even now, I'm just happy doing this.
Did you ever have that feeling, or were you on the verge of wanting to or needing to quit?
Yeah, I think I have. I guess I've never felt like, oh, I really, really need to quit. But I've had moments where I just decide I'm done for a while. As I mentioned before, when I first started streaming, I got pretty serious pretty early on. I was like, let me just stream. And for me, I call it serious. For others, they'd say it was rookie numbers. But like, I would stream 5 days a week. I'd put a few hours in every day, where it's like bare minimum 4 hours a day, 5 days a week. And I stopped doing that. And then I had this whole moment where I was like, okay, well, do I be done for a while? I never thought I was going to fully quit, but I was like, I'll come back to this. But no, I think like I've had that moment, and then I kind of moved past it, where it's like, I can just do this whenever I want. There's no point in ever fully quitting. And it's in my mind, it's not farewell, it's see you next time. So like I moved past that quickly enough.
Have you had a burnout, whether it be from things happening in life, a lack of motivation, or anything else?
Uh, so when I was doing all that, again, like hardcore streaming thing, I kind of did burn myself out. And that became much more a lack of motivation. I went on a vacation, and when I got back from the vacation, I was like, I don't want to turn on the stream again. Like, I'll do it some point. I'll do it eventually. And it was funny because I was very, very insistent when I recovered from the coma of like, I will do this. So yeah, I took a bit of a burnout where like I kind of fell back into that trap. And I really do think it's easy to do. It is so easy for people to, once you stop or you take a break from a point in your progress, to then just completely stop, or to completely just lose all of that desire again. And I think if streaming is your career, if it is the thing that you are making your money doing, or like that's your livelihood, then you really can't afford that. In my case, I was able to come back to it without feeling too much pressure, because streaming's not my job. It is, again, it's a hobby. It was part of what made me realize this is a hobby I like. And of course, I'd love to get big again someday, or like get big someday. But it helped me realize that burnout wasn't necessarily a terrible thing. I just needed to get past the motivation issue, and I needed to pick a schedule that I was happier with, or like do it in a way that made me feel more happy. Again, if it's someone's job, I think the story's completely different, but you'd have to ask them about that. I can't speak to that.
And we are now on to the last part, which is the surprise questions.
Oh man, the finale. Let's go. I imagine there aren't too many, but let's see what you got.
Yeah, they are basically just 2 questions.
That's fine by me.
But yeah, so basically the surprise questions is basically from my previous interview, where I asked the interviewee to ask questions for the next interviewee, and it's basically like a whole cycle where one person gets questions from the previous interviewee, they then ask questions for the next interviewee, and that just goes into basically like a cycle, into like a loop and something.
Ooh, that's a great idea. I really like that. That's fantastic.
So basically, CZR asked you 2 questions, and those 2 questions are basically these 2.
Okay, let me play it. Let me see.
Yeah, I heard eyes as well. All right, Dio, are you ready for me to ask the questions?
All right, let's hear this. Oh, I like the Zelda shirt. That's cool.
Okay, let me think about it. I might have more than one. I'm gonna think of the most ridiculous thing. How many AirPods have you washed? in your washer before?
AirPods.
And don't lie. Like, I know it's a thing.
Okay, that's a good question. I'll answer that first right away before I continue. So I've never had AirPods, but I did fall for the marketing of Raycons. So I did get Raycons, and I did watch them once. I watched 2 Raycons one time, and yeah, they got destroyed. And then I never bought more Raycons. I was like, okay, I don't need wireless earbuds. I'm just gonna stick to wired ones. I like the wire more, anyways. But that's my answer to that one.
How how bad are your stomach issues, and how much does it affect your life?
My stomach issues.
Because I can say from personal experience, like, I mean, I get the shits anytime I'm nervous, anytime I'm excited.
Excited shits is funny.
I mean, it's like, bro. But apparently it's common with neurodiverse people to have stomach problems, so I guess it's a feature, not a bug. So no pun intended. All right, those are my 2 questions.
So, in regards to the stomach issues question, I don't get the shits out of nervousness or anything like that, but I will tangent on that real quick. The first thing is, my stomach issue is I have large intestine issues. So, whenever I do shit, I lose a portion of blood. I could probably be great for a blood drive. I could donate so much. But no, the other thing I will say is when I was recovering from the coma, because of all the medicine, all the drugs I was on to recover, there was a period of time where I was unable to shit for like a straight week. I think I went like 9 days without. But yeah, no, that's a great question. That's a great question.
Since we are now nearing the end of the interview, you can go ahead and promote anything of your content if you like.
Sounds good. I'm on Twitter. I am at Kitakuno. You can just link my Twitter. And then I'm also on Instagram. I think I'm Tryst there. It's linked to my Twitter. You'll find it. And then my Twitch, which is Tryst as well. I think it's Tryst_Tryst. But that's basically it. I like to make content in which I get other people together a lot of the time to do things with me. But yeah, feel free to just check me out sometime. I'm very random with my schedule though, so you'll never know exactly when I'm doing something unless I feel really passionate about announcing it in advance. And make sure to keep watching C's stuff too. C's fantastic.
Ah, you flatterer. Learning from Tryst, I found out that you can never be too late to do what you would love to do. And that Tryst has also realized himself after his tragic accident, which he thankfully survived in. After the accident, he started to get into VTubing, commissioning multiple people before actually starting to stream, which he mentioned himself was a bad decision. He has also since made a server called the Hub World, where everyone who gets invited is able to do their own thing and no one has any sort of advantages over others for potentially having a bigger audience than some.
And thanks so much for interviewing. I really appreciate it. I was super surprised you asked to interview me because again, I'm not a big streamer. So I'm very flattered and I really do appreciate all the time you took to do this.
Thank you so much for watching to the end of this video. If you enjoy this kind of content or my speedruns, consider subscribing to this channel as it would help me out a lot. Where's part 2? I gotta find part 2. I can't find part I can't find part 2. Shit. Ah, goodness.
And I also fully 100% expect if anyone's commenting, there needs to be at least one comment in there. I'll comment it myself. Damn, that guy's hot. What a good model he has. He's gorgeous.